Welcome in our program Hello Science from Catholic University in Lublin in Poland. Today we have with us a very special guest, Professor Mirosław Wróbel, who is a doctor of Institute of Biblical Science at John Paul II Catholic University. Professor, there are many topics we can talk with you about, but today we stick to one. Targum Neofiti, Aramaic Bible. Once you say that this is a people's Bible, and first, to make it a little bit clear for those who are not as deep into the biblical studies as you, in the times of Jesus, in Palestine, the Jewish people spoke Aramaic, not Hebrew as we can think. Okay, so, and then abroad, in the diaspora, they spoke Greek mainly. Therefore, there is need for this translation. So the Hebrew, if I understood well, it was the language of elite. Could you explain to us when did it happen, the story of translations of Hebrew Bible into Aramaic?
Yes, genesis of the Aramaic translations we can find already after Babylonian exile in the 6th century before Christ. When the Jewish community came back to Judean territory, they have Aramaic language in their hearts, and there were a lot of mixed marriages, and the situation in the new kingdom, Persian kingdom, was that the official language was the Aramaic language. That's why in this period started the process of the translation of Hebrew texts into Aramaic. We have the sources and the traces of this process in the book of Ezra and in the book of Nehemiah. We have in Old Testament 3 books, Ezra, Nehemiah, and the book of Daniel, where we can find the Aramaic language. So in the Holy Scripture, the Old Testament, it's not only Hebrew, but there are some texts in Aramaic, which is the sign of the influence of this Aramaic language in this period. And slowly, this process, the translation was oral translation. In the synagogues in the Jerusalem temple, there was very strict law to keep Hebrew language as a language of God, as a language which is norm for the Hebrew community.
Kind of a holy language.
Yes, it's a holy language, and it is still until today. When we go to the synagogues, we can see that there are scrolls in the special place, Aron HaKodesh, and the people are taking the scrolls, and they are in Hebrew language. But in this time, when the translation started, it was the institution of so-called metargumen, men who came out, and when there were reading of the Torah or of the Haftarah, the prophets, he started to translate. First it was reading from the scroll of the Hebrew language, and after metargumen didn't have any, he only translated, but it was not simply translation, it was also commentary, it was also some addition. He wanted that this holy word, which was read in Hebrew, come to these people in a form which is simple, which is very good understood. We have this situation until the time of Jesus, until the Palestine of the 1st century. We can imagine also Jesus, when he went with Saint Joseph to the synagogue, he could hear scrolls in Hebrew, but there were also Targumim who translated these scrolls and who
explain.
Yes. It was like the explanation, like this form of sermon also, which was very alive in the mind of Jesus, and really we can find a lot of connections between the teaching of Jesus and these traditions which are included in Targumim, in Targums. So I told you that first it was the process of oral translation and explanation, but we have traces after Qumran discoveries, the scrolls from Book of Job and Book of Leviticus. We have Targumim in these caves of Qumran, which are from the 2nd, 1st century before Christ. So we can see that we had phenomenon of the existence of the writing sources already before the Christian era. And it is very important statement for us, also for the science, to deal with this kind of sources in order to better understand the kind of exegesis, of Jewish exegesis in this time when the Christianity born inside the Jewish context, and also in order to better understand the teaching of Jesus and the teaching of the first church. So this project is important not only for Jews, also for Christians.